Good evening and welcome. You are tuned in and watching the Zone Blitz by NFL Female. We are the weekly Tuesday night webcast produced by NFL Female, www.nflfemale.com. Be sure to jump on there and check out all the latest and greatest articles by all of the women who cover not just the 32 NFL teams now, but the divisions. And, of course, I cover the entire NFL. My name is Sharona. You can follow me on Twitter at Sports by Sharona. Apologies for the delay in getting started. Had all kinds of technical issues tonight. And there goes my dog. But thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Without further ado, because we've got a lot to talk about, let's go ahead and kick it over to Sonja to let us get started.
Hey guys, it's me, Sonja, the official fan reporter for NFL Female for the Detroit Lions. You can find me on Twitter at mom3RN, and as always, I'm excited to get going. Hi, Kate. We can say hi to our third Kate. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Another Tuesday in the books. So yeah, let's get it going.
Definitely. Another Tuesday brings me 5 more days closer to college football. After the NFL weekend I had, thank God for my Buckeyes.
Yeah.
Trash talk our college teams every week.
Exactly. So, we usually do our segments we've got going on, and so I will quickly get going with my unsung hero. And so this week, since the NFL is actually official now with games and all of the good stuff, I was going to go with an actual player this time who did a very good job, but maybe not got all of the hype or all of the love, but collectively, the Bills' defense did get a lot of love. But I am going to target Ronald Darby, their rookie cornerback, who intercepted Andrew Luck off of one of his very first passes and just kind of got the game started defensively for the Bills and for that Rex Ryan defense. So, Ronald Darby, this week you are my unsung hero because you got the ball rolling, and hopefully good things to come from you in the future. So, Ronald Darby, congrats, unsung hero. What do you guys think?
I like it. We were all talking about him around the water cooler today. I knew the Bills' defense was going to give the Jets everything they could handle and then some, or the Colts. The Colts always start off slow. And last year, if you remember the Browns game when the Colts were here, we almost beat them. If I had gotten any offense at all, I think we forced 3 or 4 interceptions and just gave Andrew Luck more than he could deal with. And he doesn't always get the kind of pressure that you see with the defense like the Browns run or like the Rex Ryan is running with the Bills. That team is going to be very tough this year. If they get any kind of offense out of their guys, they're going to be, really going to be putting up a fight in that division. So I was real happy to see them looking good on Sunday.
Good. Yeah, I was kind of happy to see them looking good, except for the fact that, I had Colts defense going. So that was not fun. Not fun at all. Sharona, what do you think? Good pick or not? Oh, babe, we can't hear Sharona.
You can't hear me?
Okay, now we can.
I like it as a fantasy football player, though, that bought very heavily into the Colts offense. I was not terribly happy about that, but yeah, I actually had a chance to. I'm going to be talking about the Bills in the morning on my podcast, and I had a chance to talk to Tim Graham, who covers the Bills, a couple of hours ago, and there's an excitement about that team that is really, it's really fun to watch, and it's fun to see, and of course, we have a lot of friends in Bills Mafia, in the Buffalo Bills community, and I'm really happy for that fan base.
Yeah, they've gone through a lot, and if this is truly setting the tone for this year, then watch out. They are going to end up probably being the surprise pick for a lot of people. If they can keep it up and get some offense generated, yeah, I think they'll be all right.
You just like it because you had to face me in fantasy football this week, and my quarterback was Andrew Luck. I'm flipping through my things and checking scores, and I'm like, What? 0 to 24, and Andrew Luck is like -1 point or something. I'm like, oh my God! I ended up coming in last out of all 10 teams in total points this week.
Oh, no way.
I was a little heavily invested on some of my fantasy teams in the Colts. I've backed off of them in some places, and we'll talk about T.Y. Hilton and his injury in my segment in a little while. So, not happy with the Colts this week. I expected Buffalo to be tough, but I still wanted Andrew Luck to give me a couple points.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You do expect him to put up just, a few.
Yeah.
Just a little something.
Yep.
A little bit of something. Yeah, I feel your pain. I was expecting, again, I wasn't expecting, a Seattle-esque performance out of the Colts defense, but at least something, I thought something would be coming. But oh well. We are not prognosticators.
and Andrew Luck had an uncharacteristically bad game.
Mhm.
It was, it was kind of surprising to see him struggle so much.
Exactly.
Yep.
And so that was my hero. Do you guys have anybody that you wanted to nominate, or anybody who did something cool in your community, any one of your team members, or anything that you heard that I didn't hear? Anything?
Well, I wanted to mention, I know I'm going to sound like Homer Town here, the Cleveland Browns Foundation. And just because today is their yearly radiothon, if anyone's interested in looking, you go to any Google search engine or Yahoo or whatever and look for Cleveland Browns Foundation Radiothon, and they'll take you to the link to the website. And they are auctioning off a ton of cool things, from autographed jerseys to center Alex Mack is going to do an all-you-can-eat lunch with the winning bidder and like 3 of their friends. And there was, I think for $9,000 today, a guy bought a trip for 2 to ride with the Browns to go to Seattle for the Seahawks game in December. And so you get to fly with the team and go to the game and all that. There are a couple tickets to Super Bowl 50. There's just a ton of cool stuff, not just for Browns fans, but for NFL fans. There are some things that you might be interested in. And I've always been aware of the Cleveland Browns Foundation, and the Radiothon just reminds me that they're there and what they do. Jimmy Haslam's our owner. His family is going to match all of the money that's raised during the telethon today and the Radiothon with the auction items. But what they do is they focus on Northeast Ohio youth, making sure that they receive the development and education that they need early in life, and then working through different programs with middle school and high school kids and scholarships. And 2 of the things that they do that I really think is cool, the first thing is the 2,000 Days Pledge. They firmly believe that the first 2,000 days of a child's life, or from birth until kindergarten, is the most important thing. And so I remember being at training camp, they had a booth set up, and they had a little calculator thing, and you told them when your birthday was, and they calculated how many days you were. And so people were taking pictures with, my 57,000 whatever days it was that I had on my paper and stuff. And so just sort of a thing to make people aware how important those first days are. And then the Marion Motley Scholarship. We have precious few Cleveland Browns players that we can brag about and that are in the Hall of Fame, and he is one of them. He's actually one of the first 4 African Americans to integrate into professional football back in the 1940s. So he's a Browns legend that we're all very proud of, and they have a couple scholarships that they give out in his name, and the deadline for those is October 15th this year. So again, if you Google the Marion Motley Scholarships, there are 2 $2,500 scholarships. Once you win them and maintain the average, you get that every year for 4 years.
Oh,
the
sweet.
requirements are a major in an educational field or a sports field, sports management, sports medicine, anything like that. So
cool.
And it's open to anybody. You don't have to just live in Cleveland. So people can go to the website and check it out. So I sound like a little bit of a homer because
That's
it's
okay.
a team, but they're doing the Radiothon today. So it just kind of brings it to the forefront. And maybe I think what I'll do over the next few weeks is talk to some of our other OFRs and NFL female. I know my team isn't the only one that has a foundation. So I'm assuming the Detroit Lions do and a lot of other teams do. So maybe the part of the Unsung Heroes is we can feature what these teams' foundations actually do. Because I know a lot of people here have heard of the Cleveland Browns Fund. I don't know that they realized it focused on education. It focused on the players go to different elementary and middle schools during the year, take them school supplies. Teachers who need help providing stuff for their classrooms can kind of help with that. And I didn't realize that was really the focus of it until the last few days, just wishing I had $1,000 so that I could bid on an hour-long chalk talk session with Mike Pettin for me and 19 of my closest friends. How awesome would that be? I'm like, now I want to win the lottery so I can buy these cool things. And Danny Shelton is our first-round draft pick. There are bids for him to come and walk your dog.
Oh, cool.
He's got this big, huge, husky-looking thing, and he was going to meet you at a park, and he will either walk with you or he will take your dog for a walk. Just, cute stuff like that. And the players really do it. Earlier today, somebody bid, I believe it was like $4,000 for 2 tickets to a Cavaliers game to sit courtside with Joe Hayden for a game. I'm like, dude, I would love to sit next to Joe Hayden. You got the Cavs that are really good, and then you got Joe Hayden. So it's just a cool thing that the teams do, and maybe that's something we can talk about on future episodes. Is just, I think these teams all have foundations, and I think they have specific areas that they try to work with, and it would be nice to kind of make sure everyone knows that. Because I didn't know, like I said, I didn't know this about my own team's foundation. You just hear about it all the time, but I learned a little bit about it this week so that I can talk about it on your segment.
Perfect. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I like that idea, at least, finding out something that our teams do in terms of, foundations, scholarships, fundraisers, whatever they're doing out in the community. So I think that's awesome. And, yeah, I think we can feature that at least once a week.
I think that would be a great idea.
I think so, because, these guys do a little bit more than just play football. So that's a good thing, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely.
All right, so now let's talk some fantasy because, well, some teams, some players, I'm sure, some teams took a beating. Mine actually survived, although there was one, Blair Walsh. I'm looking at you, dude.
Lord.
You let me down.
Yeah. Fortunately, I had dropped him before the game started, but yes, he's definitely not a good option right now.
Exactly.
I want to know why Calvin Johnson's face is on the milk cartons at my grocery store.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was. Really, I'm gonna have to talk to Joe Lombardi about that because no bueno. It's hello. You have one of the best wide receivers in the league. Yes, he was covered, and San Diego's defense was going after him, but they're not the greatest defense in the world. I think we could have, gone a little bit more towards him, but that's just me. I don't know.
It's not just you, it's everybody who owns Calvin Johnson, which is like 99% of fantasy football owners. DeMarco Murray's another one who, the big conversation in my house, my husband had him last year, and I ended up picking him up on a couple teams this year, was DeMarco Murray as a running back really that good, or was Dallas's offensive line really that good? And Jerry Jones rolled the dice and decided that he could put any running back in that scheme and let them run behind their line, and Dallas would be fine. So now DeMarco Murray is in Philadelphia, and he had like 9 yards. I'm like, why are they not giving him the ball? Why are they not letting him run? It just seemed an odd use of someone who last year was one of the best people at his position to not even be, it didn't even seem like he was part of the game plan.
Yeah, that was a little odd too. And, I'm no, not really. Not beginning to think that Dallas's offensive line was just that awesome. But I don't think you can just plug anybody in there just yet. I don't think Dallas's line is, or I don't think the running backs that they're getting are that great to be able to plug in. I think DeMarco is very good, and I think maybe he just has to kind of get used to Philadelphia. But I don't know. We'll see. Somebody to keep our eye on for sure.
I think the Broncos, maybe not this year, but last year, and definitely the Patriots, I don't think it's so much offensive line. It's just offensive scheme that they make just about anybody who's either going to catch or run the ball look good because they do mix it up so well, and their quarterbacks are so good at adjusting to what defenses are giving them that both of those teams have made fantasy studs out of people who disappeared. 2 years later, Wes Welker's done nothing since he's left the Patriots.
Exactly.
And so sometimes it's a scheme that you see going on. From a fantasy standpoint, to kind of mix it up with the injuries, we have some injuries this week that are seriously going to affect people's fantasy decisions and fantasy lineups. Sharona, your boy Delaney Walker, we talked about him and that he was a
Mm-hmm.
nice option at tight end. Hurt his hand down in Tampa.
Yeah.
Now, I heard he got on the plane with a cast on his hand, but the team is saying nothing is broken. It was just some kind of a precaution, and that he'll be fine this week. Have you heard anything?
Well, I think that right now he is questionable, and that's Tuesday, so they're off today. Tomorrow is their first day back from. Of course, Monday they have meetings and stuff, so I think that we'll know a little bit more tomorrow. But right now, it looks like he might. We'll just have to see. He's a tough guy, and
Yeah.
if he can at all, possibly go, he will, because he likes to be on the field, and he likes to set that example. So we'll have to see. But I think he had a touchdown, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he put up some nice numbers. So I saw that he was still available in a couple of my leagues. So I put some waiver claims in. Don't tell anybody that might be playing against me in the league that's Sonja. Tell you who my secret weapons are. We were just talking about the Cowboys, and Des Bryant might win my Idiot of the Year award. Hurt his foot, was taken out, was on the sidelines, jumping up and down and dancing and acting a fool. Right now, it looks like his foot is fractured and he's out 4 to 6 weeks, but there was going to be surgery today. They were going to get into it a little more, and maybe you can help me with this, Sonja. They said if it's just a fracture, it's 4 to 6 weeks, but if it's his 5th metatarsal, it could be 10 weeks, if not season-ending. What is that?
Well, I'm not 100% sure about what the difference. I mean, I know what the metatarsals are. They're the bones in your toes or in your foot. But I don't understand the difference between, the 4th one or the 5th one. I don't understand, the whole mechanics of that, because,
I just thought 4 to 6 or 6 to 10 or whatever would be, you broke your foot, you broke your foot. But
right, exactly.
Where the break was when they go in to do the surgery. So I'm hopeful that it's 4 to 6 weeks. At the same time, he's one of those guys, depending on how your fantasy roster looks. I let Terrell Pryor take up some roster spots on a couple of my teams, and now that he's a free agent and not playing anywhere, I can envision people cutting Des Bryant, figuring he's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks at least and needing to make room. And he might be someone that you could pick up, because if he does come back and he's healthy, those last few weeks of the season, Dallas is going to be, I think, making a strong run for the playoffs. That win against the Giants, I bet you, does something to them and something to Romo. And I'm really expecting them to have a good year now. I just think they got off to a really great start. And so Des might be somebody for you to pick up and leave sit on your bench, even though he's injured.
Mm-hmm.
Andre Ellington, Cardinals running back. Wasn't high on my draft list anyway, but he's definitely got a sprained PCL. They are not going to do surgery. They're going to do an MRI. We're supposed to do one today, but they're thinking he won't need surgery. Could just be 4 weeks of rest and relaxation. But if the MRI shows something different, this could very well be a season ending for him. So if you've got Andre Ellington, you should be looking at the waiver wire tonight. Ty Hilton, we talked about the Colts earlier, hurt his knee. That turned out to just be bruised. So he's just going to be out maybe a week. They might keep him out a week to be safe. They might look at the schedule and say, you know what, we're going to sit you this week. Make sure you're good to go, and then get you back going on. Deshaun Jackson's another one, Washington wide receiver. Hurt his hamstring in the preseason and saw limited action, and re-aggravated it again this week. And the hamstring's one of those injuries where you see it a lot more, I think, in baseball, or at least it seems more prevalent in baseball than in football.
Yeah, because they're trying to leg them out.
It just takes forever to get better. So Deshaun Jackson's facing, the hamstring thing. So once he gets that, they're probably going to have him out for a while he's getting that better. Terrell Suggs, if you've got the Baltimore defense, you're in big trouble. He is done for the year. Torn Achilles tendon. Antonio Cromartie sprained his knee. He's going to –
Oh, that was just a sprain? It looks awful.
Yeah, it did, but it's just a sprain. He's week to week, and let's face it, the Jets aren't going to have very many easy games like they did against my Browns this week, so that defense needs him back, and so they may rush him back, so that's something to keep an eye on. I doubt very many people are holding on to the Jets' defense anyway, but if you are in a fantasy league where you play an actual defensive player, he's one of those corners that a lot of people have for the secondary for the hope of an interception and a pick six and that kind of thing. I'd keep an eye on him. From the quarterback perspective, I'm going to get to Josh McCown. We'll start with David Carr. I flipped down the ring, this McLovin guy playing quarterback, and I'm like I knew who quarterback was, but I didn't think it took us forever to remember David Little. Apparently, he hurt his right hand, which is his throwing hand, giving a stiff arm to Adam Jones. X-rays were negative, so he's week to week. And again, that's not a team who had very high expectations for this season. I mean, the Raiders are like the Browns. They're hoping for 8-8, just like we are. So they may rest him a week and let McLaurin. God, I got to call him McLovin. I can't even say his name. Let him play it up just to make sure Carr is fully healed, and then let him back in. Josh McCown's another one. He has no fantasy value, but from an injury standpoint, sure makes it fun in Cleveland because thanks to Josh's need to do this helicopter play over the goal line to try to score and instead fumble the ball, we are now in concussion protocol. We won't know till Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. Could be as late as Friday if the NFL clears him. At that point, Johnny Manziel is playing. He came in, and I actually thought he did pretty well, all things considered. He hasn't practiced since like the second week of preseason because he's had elbow issues. He'll have all this week to game plan. And maybe this injury was a good thing. Maybe it forced the Browns' hand into seeing what Manziel has. I don't know if they'll put McCown back in the minute he's healthy or if they'll say, you know what, let's just let Manziel do it. I don't know. I do know that the over-under on how many games it would take before McCown got injured was 4. He hasn't played a full 16-game season in his 13 years in the NFL, so we knew he wasn't going to make it the whole season. I thought he would have made it through the first drive, and then I guess technically once he fumbled, the drive was over. So I guess he did make it through his first drive as a Cleveland Brown. But, what are you going to do? The only other thing I really have on the injury front is more just a storyline that I find interesting and aggravating. And I wish Sharona was here. We lost Sharona.
Again,
Paul is still not playing football. She'll get back when she can get back. He's still not playing